Good morning. I am here with Elizabeth Browde, the COO of a new cannabis channel, a 420 Media spinoff. Good morning, Elizabeth. How are you?
Good morning, David. Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
Oh, thanks for joining us. And you are you're in New Jersey, I hear.
Right now I am. I'm staying with my father through this whole pandemic thing. And, it's lovely. It's a nice place to be down the shore in New Jersey. So that's for sure.
Fantastic. Well, thank you for joining us. I am on the West Coast, so we are bi-coastal today. So that's always a fun conversation.
Excellent.
So tell me a little bit about a new cannabis channel that you're spearheading.
Yeah, well, Carrie Accardi, my partner in crime in this, she has been a passionate advocate for many years in this space. And if it weren't for her, of course, this venture would never have happened. And what makes this different than anything else that anyone has done before is that Carrie, for many years, has amassed an incomparable library of footage that is, not replicated in any way, because she's had so many people who are pioneers in this industry, people that are at events that are no longer happening. It's really like the history of cannabis. So if you look at what we're doing, many people that have tried this before have just said, hey, let's start a cannabis channel, and kind of looked at the lifestyle from a point of recreation. So that's great. And, people are kind of, doing their own thing, sitting around, maybe, talking about the plant, smoking, but it's not, this certainly isn't, for lack of a better way to describe it, it's certainly not your stoner channel.
So tell me, a new cannabis channel, let's start with just kind of the basics in media. Who are you trying to reach? Is this the High Times audience, the Dope Magazine audience? What is it? What generationally? Who are you targeting with a new cannabis channel?
David, when you think about this, like the last thing you want to do when you're, trying to launch an omni-channel network like we are, say like we're going to be all things to all people. But in a weird way, our audience is very broad. We're looking at people from everything from the canna-curious to the people who are already familiar and are users with the plant. So there should be something for everyone. What we really are trying to do is bring this mainstream, take the stigma out of cannabis and look at it from a lifestyle perspective. No difference than if you look at any other omni-channel out there, whether it's, the Food Network or HGTV or TLC back in the day. It's really about showing people the uses of cannabis, giving them the information and the tools that they need to make the decision that they want themselves to go out and partake.
When you start saying taking the stigma away, then that suggests to me non-cannabis users, right? Because if I'm a regular cannabis user, I probably don't have much stigma associated with my consumption.
That's absolutely correct. I mean, but I wouldn't say that we were completely targeting 100% the non-cannabis user, but what we're trying to do is broaden the tent. So it's like, if you are a non-cannabis user, but you're curious about it. I was on a Zoom call the other day, and we had people tweeting in and commenting and asking questions, and one of our viewers called herself like, this is going to be really great for the canna-curious, and that was a term that I thought, wow, that's great. That's exactly
right. So that's folks who have heard about CBD or heard about the powers of cannabinoids or terpenes and aren't yet educated. So your goal then is, would you say you said mainstreaming? Does that mean normalization in terms of cultural, or does that mean normalization in terms of legal? I mean, what are your intentions here?
I think that's, they sort of go hand in hand. We are looking for it really now to start talking about mainstreaming it in the terms of use. So for instance, I think that, I'm the person that we're targeting because, before I had personal knowledge of the plant and what the plant could do in terms of benefits of health, I was someone who was very leery, coming from states that were not legal, didn't have that access, didn't have that knowledge. You know, I was someone who, when I was ill and kind of needed this plant, or was told that this plant would help me deal with the side effects of things that I was going through, I had to, you know, figure out, how do I get this? You know, not someone who was, you know, in this space at all, who had
Well,
any knowledge, you know,
so
there it was.
talk
Mhm.
about that in terms of a media. So if this is omni-channel,
Mhm.
right, you're talking to folks maybe in California or Washington,
That's
in one of
correct.
the legal states, or I might be in New Jersey that's in transition, or I
Mhm.
might be in a place like Indiana, surrounded by legal and medical and hemp states, but not having access. So how do you talk to all those different constituencies through a media play?
Yeah, I think that for us, you know, we're talking about all the different aspects of the plant. So, you know, not only are we talking about, you know, cannabis from its purest form, but we're also going to talk about CBD and the benefits that have for, you know, health benefits there. We're also going to talk about hemp and, you know, and all the other uses for the plant, whether it's, you know, everything from clothing to building. So there will be something for everyone. And, you know, eventually, I think the way, we're sort of going now, pretty much, you know, before long, it may be that everyone has some sort of access, whether it's, you know, medical or
So
recreation.
are you hopeful now with the Biden administration and the new millennia here that we're going to do with Biden and Harris, that we'll have some change?
You know, it looks that way, but I don't like to predict what's going to happen politically. I try to, you know, stick to my
Right.
own lane and, you know, talk about what we can do in terms of helping people
Well,
get to, you
then tell
know,
me about
a little bit
the
better.
access, because Carrie's been trying to do this for, you know, a lot of years, has had some challenges with networks, some challenges with clearance, some
Mhm,
challenges with advertisers.
mhm.
How has that changed over the years with, gosh, we're coming up on, you know, 8+ years of legal cannabis?
Yeah, you know, it's really interesting, but it's not so much that the cannabis industry has changed, it's the media industry that's changed, David. I mean, I'm old enough to know, like, you know, what it was like before we were even editing, you know, digital, not for very long, but still, you know, I remember, you know, when we were taking tapes back, you know, giant tapes back to the editing room and trying to figure out, you know, what to do with them. But media is so different now, and content, the way people consume content is so different. And even in the last like 2 3 years, the um the instant access to content is so important. So people are consuming content, you know, there's no such thing as, like, you know, really appointment television. Yes, there might be some like breakthrough program where people are running, and they're still running it that way, where we have to run home at, you know, 9 o'clock on Sunday to kind of, you know, take a look at that. But for the
Right.
most part, we're getting content, you know, access what we want when we want it. So it's not about the networks kind of letting you have access. It's really about, you know, OTT and streaming services
So
having
those are
content.
more independent, and you're not relying on the big corporations to approve
Mhm.
your,
Yeah,
like the CBSs of the world. How about
exactly.
advertisers? Are you finding a responsiveness? Are there marketers who want to reach this new cannabis consumer,
Mm. Yeah, well, you know, David, that's really
or the
like, I think
cannabis
that's,
curious?
yeah, I think that's really the most interesting thing that we've got going for us, because, you know, there's so many people that are in this space now from a manufacturing, you know, company standpoint, even like, you know, homegrown mom and pop small
Right.
businesses, they don't have a way to reach their customers. That's kind of mainstream. It's exactly what you said, you know, before, like maybe they'll take an ad out in High Times or something, but, you know, to kind of get that reach that video can have, that is trying to reach, you know, pretty much everyone that has access to an iPhone or a computer, or, you know, some sort of web access. That's, you know, that's huge for them. So that's what we're trying to do. We're creating this atmosphere where the corporations can kind of live and really reach their consumers directly. So if you think about it, um, not to be super commercial, but really this is was conceived for the advertisers to be able to tell their stories, so that, you know, their stories and the stories of the people that are using the plant and the benefits of the plant and the uses of the plant can sort of all come together and converge in this one happy marketplace.
Right. So you're launching on 4/20,
Yes, we are.
auspicious date,
Yes.
in keeping with your roots. Tell me, what will we see on 4/20? What kind of programming will you be debuting?
So, you know, we are rolling out in stages. So the first things that we're doing really are like building the foundation. So the first types of series that you're going to see are very heavy on information. They're very medically benefit driven for what the plant can help with. So we've got, you know, 3 series that we're, you know, premiering on that date, and that's you know, Nurse Talk with Nurse Heather, who has been
We
an
love her.
advocate.
Yeah.
Yes, she's great, you know, and you know, she definitely
Heather
cuts
Manis,
through.
yes.
She cuts through all the clutter. She's been working with, you know, veterans for a long time, and all the struggles that they have and the benefits of the plant. And you know, and then we have Fifth Quarter with Marv Washington,
Oh,
and
fantastic.
he's so fantastic. And you know, he's interviewing like everyone from all walks of life, other athletes, people who are working inside dispensaries, and kind of explaining their stories and the things that happen, you know, in terms of the really the miracles that the plant can have for people who are suffering from things, and you know, and what we can see the transformation. And then our third series is about the faces of cannabis, and this is really, you know, a tip to Carrie and all the interviews that she's had all, you know, throughout the years, from everyone from the, you know, the pioneers of cannabis to people who are really in the throes today and doing, you know, cutting edge with, you know, the plant. So it's
From the
really
activists to the
mhm,
entrepreneurs to, yeah, and she
100%.
spends a lot of time on the medical
She does.
side as
She
well.
does.
Mhm,
So
mhm.
that's great. And then, you know, and then I'd say that in those early days, you know, we are absolutely going to have a cooking show. I think that's one of the things that we hear from,
Cooking.
you
Now,
know,
I understand that you
mhm.
do a little bit of cooking.
I love to cook.
Have you done infused cooking?
Oh my goodness. No, I haven't.
It's tricky. I tell you, we you know, through the MJBA have hosted a number of edibles nights, and
Mhm.
it really is true that you have to start low and go slow, or the evening
Exactly.
evaporates before your very eyes.
I
So
I
there's
think
a
there's a
trick. Yeah.
I think there's a lot of tricks. You know, I think that people, you know, like me think, oh, what do we do? Do we just, you know, like take a handful of flour and like just kind
Oh
of toss it
no,
in and,
it's
oh
very
no,
sophisticated. Yeah. And there are some
exactly.
wonderful chefs out there who are doing
Hmm.
infused truffle oils, and it's really
Absolutely.
just the highlights to your gourmet meal. And
100%.
then pairing it
100%.
with wine, or
Hmm.
and then or if you're a beer drinker, because hops also have quite complex terpene profiles as well.
Yes. I think it's great. I think literally to kind of introduce it to the, you know, the wine connoisseurs of the world to see the difference,
Yeah.
you know. I I know that even with, you just mentioned, you know, hops and beer, you know, look at what the craft beer has done. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't think I ever had a beer until like maybe about 10 years ago. And then all of a sudden I'm like, oh, wow, this is great,
These are
because
complex. That's
it's
right.
complex, you're tasting the flavors, it's just like drinking wine. So,
That's right.
you know, the way the plant is grown, it's the same thing. It's the terroir and the
Mhm.
feeling and the, you know, what does that, you know, impart to you in terms of taste and smell, etc. So I think
I
it's
love
fun.
it. I love it. So, Elizabeth, tell me a little bit about being a woman in media, and now a woman in cannabis media. Uh,
Yeah.
are you finding there are advantages or challenges to that role?
Well, you know, it's a very interesting time to be a woman in business at all these days. And you know, I mentioned before, I shouldn't go around saying how old I am, but you know what? I'm old enough to see the progress. And you know, when I was first starting out, and I got into the business very, very young. I was like literally about 20 years old when I started in this business. And it's interesting to see the trajectory. You know, I'm old enough to remember that, you know,
Right.
people were picked not because of, you know, their brain power, but it was like, what did they look like in a skirt? I mean, really, that's sort of how it was. And it was horrible. I was, I think that women who are my age have tolerated so much they don't even know what's, not normal. So I think it's really like a thinking switch, and I see it even like with Carrie and I and how we interact. It's like it's different. It's how like you react to different people, and if someone says something like, there could be an offense taken by one or the other, but like it's for
Right.
different reasons. So I think that that's it's a very interesting way. But women have really come into their own. I mean, there was never never any reason why they weren't in the first place. But I
Right.
think that
Other
it's
than access to power.
exactly
But you're
right.
building, I mean,
Hmm.
you have, I would say, a woman-centric organization there. You
We
have,
do.
you have Janet doing PR and quite a few power ladies running the show. So I love that. It's great to see,
Yeah,
and whole different energy from some of the good old
it,
boy
it,
approaches
it
to
is.
cannabis lifestyle.
I have to say, David, it's the first time that I've worked with, so many women so close and so high up in the organizations, like, and it's great. Um, you know, it's like the egos are set aside, like when you're kind of like discussing things. It's really a different kind of a feeling.
No
And
mansplaining.
there's no mansplaining, right? Exactly. And I think we kind of just get each other, in a very short time. Carrie and I
Yeah.
have like, kind of like this secret
Shorthand.
language. We have
And you're a
shorthand. We
couple
know
of
like what the
you're a
other's
couple of
thinking.
East Coast gals too, so you've got that energy going on too.
That is absolutely true.
Yeah, Carrie's definitely got the Staten Island, New York vibe working for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, we're
Um,
both New York girls for sure.
yeah, so kind of at the end of the time, what have I missed?
Oh,
What would you
wow.
like to share? What do you want folks to think about? Obviously, if they're an advertiser, you want them to come see you.
Oh,
Who else?
absolutely.
Big net.
Just, yeah, if I could talk a little bit, just one more thing about the advertisers. Like our advertisers are just not somebody that are going to go and just put a spot or commercial on our network. We really want to partner with them because we want to share their stories as well. I think that there are so many interesting stories in this world and why people have gotten into cannabis. Whether it's my stories, Carrie's story, your story, we want to tell those stories because those are the stories that are going to resonate with people and let them really inspire them to aspire to learn about the plant and learn about its benefits and take some action on it. So I think that
So
that's
you're looking for cannabis licensees, you're looking for CBD, you're looking for hemp, and you're looking for non-cannabis advertisers as well? Are you looking for
yeah,
lifestyle
absolutely. I
brands
mean,
as well?
I think that that's, probably going to take a little bit of time. They'd have to be, people who are, extremely open to that. But yes, absolutely, we are. And I think the kinds of shows that we will have, after the launch will really lend itself to advertisers who are outside of the cannabis space.
Thank you. Great talking to you, Elizabeth Browde, COO, a new cannabischannel.com. Thank you for spending time with us. I hope that you will come back as we get closer to
Absolutely.
420
I'd love
and
to.
the launch. And I want to, kind of drill down, maybe talk to Marv, talk
Hmm.
to Heather, talk to some of your
That'd
other
be
folks that you've
fantastic.
got lined up. So super excited to have you on board and really looking forward to the channel.
Oh, we are too.
So
Thank you so much, David. I really, really appreciate it.
absolutely have a wonderful week. Thank you.
You too. Bye.
Cheers.